Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services. That was weird. Like Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Disney Plus, what have you. I'm your host, Greg Dietz. With me always is Maya Don Fisher. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm stressed. Pressed for time. Not terribly, but it's been a morning. It's been a week.
Yeah.
Well, last Thursday, my PlayStation 4 decided to
That's right.
shit the bed. Not shit the bed entirely. It just I was for some reason I was wanting to play the South Park games again, and I have Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole. Well, the Stick of Truth is digital, but the Fractured But Whole is on disc. So I played through Stick of Truth, and I went to load the Fractured But Whole, and this is the first time I've tried to load an actual disc in my console since last February. Because most of the shit I play is digital, but there are games, that I still play on disc.
Sure.
It wouldn't accept the disc. Wouldn't accept it. Like, I was like, that's weird. So I turned it off. And then I manually loaded the disc in that way and then turned it on, and it accepted the disc that way, by pulling it in the rest of the way.
Mhm.
But it wouldn't read it. And then when it ejected it, it was just like, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? So, I mean, my PS4 is old. I've had it since Fallout 4 released that week is when I got it.
God.
Yeah. And I got an Uncharted edition. It came with the Uncharted 4 and all the other games in the bundle.
Yeah.
So it's out of warranty, obviously. And I have broken it down and cleaned it out before. So I'm familiar with how to tear it down. So I tore it down to the disk drive, and I pull the disk drive out, and I look at it, and everything seems to be okay, except for there's a lip. When it recognizes a disk is in position, this lip comes up in the front to prevent another disk from loading. This was stuck in the up position, would not come down. So
Jesus.
I was like, okay, well, that's a software thing. It's probably not reading the software right. So went into safe mode, put it back together, went into safe mode. Did a software update, still didn't fix it. So went back into safe mode, rebuilt the database, still didn't fix it. Turned it off, disassembled the entire drive, and rebuilt it from the ground up. Put it back in, still didn't fix it. So I reformatted my PS4 completely to factory settings. Still didn't fix it. I was like, I've done everything I can do. There is nothing left that I can do short of replacing the drive. Fortunately, the drive was only $60, and I had like $35 on an Amazon gift card, so I got the drive for less than $25.
That's awesome.
And got it yesterday. Popped it open, tore it down, put the drive in, put it back together, fired it up, tested it, and it works. 8 minutes to repair it, to open it up, switch the drive, and put it back together. 8 minutes.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah. So that was good. And then today, I'm a little stressed because I got an appointment with my prosthetist to get a new permanent socket for my leg, and new leg entirely. Uh, and we've had to reschedule the past couple of appointments due to weather and then due to hot water heater not working one day. It's been a mess. So I was supposed to be there in an hour and a half from now, and I messaged my nurse this morning because we've had a hectic morning here. And I was like, "Is there any way I can push this?" And then she's like, "Yeah." So I got 3 hours. So yeah, that's me. That's been my week in the morning. How about you, Greg? How have you been?
This week has been a little tough. We always struggle with bills around here. Every fucking week. I would say month, but it literally is every week. And the biggest issue that comes with it is, as I've said, as stated on this podcast before, I'm a caretaker for my dad and my mom. So I do a lot of the stuff, and as of right now, I'm the only one working. My folks have disability pay, and that's fine, but I'm the only one bringing in any income outside of that stuff. And the biggest issue that this biggest hurdle that comes from this is that my dad is of two mindsets. He doesn't want to take care of the bills anymore, but he also can't handle not taking care of the bills. So it's this catch-22 of like, he takes care of the bills and is stressed because of the bills. But if the bills are taken away from him, like let's say I take control of them, he gets depressed because he doesn't have control. So that's fun. That's fun to have to fucking deal with.
No, not at all.
So we kind of had it out Saturday night, and I basically told him, I was like, it's this two-way road, and we have to work together. There's no other way to handle this. I can't take control and you can't take control, because then one of us is left in the dark and then nothing happens. So here's what's going to happen from here on out. Every other day, I'm going to ask you what bill is coming up. I'm going to ask you what bill it needs to be paid immediately and what bills we're late on. I said, we need to figure out exactly how much I need to bring in every month in order to pay all these bills. This is the road that we have to travel down now. And he was like, he was getting all like, I'm depressed. I don't want to get out of this chair. Like, I don't want to live anymore. And he was like, I'm not going to do the big S, but he was like, if I were to go, I would, I'd just let it happen. And I'm like, cool. That's what I needed in my life.
I understand that mindset because I have been there, and it's not easy.
Yeah, 100%. What I told him is going to sound a little dark, but when you are not in a good mindset, when you're a little depressed or a lot depressed, but you're not suicidal, right? You kind of have these like intrinsic or intrusive thoughts. Like, I think it'd be cool if I got T-boned so hard I died. I'd be cool with that. Like, like those thoughts.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said,
if I go to sleep and never wake up, I don't give a fuck. I'm fine with that,
And I said to him, I go, I fucking get it. I absolutely fucking get it, Dad. I said, I told him, I was like, you don't think I have these same thoughts? You don't think I have these same problems? I said, I hitched my fucking wagon. Sorry, I hitched my buggy to this wagon. And now I'm driving the fucking wagon. And I said, you're still here with me. There are some things that we can do to help the depression. It's not going to make it go away. That's not how depression fucking works, but it helps. It helps alleviate it quite significantly, especially for me. And he was like what? And I was like, meditation. And he just kind of gives me that look like, and I'm like, no, not fucking, like everyone fucking thinks that every time I fucking mention meditation. What you literally do is you get a quiet space. You can have some white noise, doesn't matter. Just turn, not the TV with people talking. And you literally just concentrate entirely on the air going in and out of your lungs. And the longer you do this, the thoughts will come in. Oh, I got to pay this bill. No. Air in, air out. And you just keep doing that for like 20 to 30 minutes a day. No joke. And your mind starts to kind of like focus. And it makes things easier, if that makes sense. Again, this isn't a solution and it doesn't work for everybody, but it definitely works for me. And I hear a ton of fucking people that work with, specifically my family. My brothers do it. My mom has done it, and it's helped her a lot, especially over this pandemic with her fears and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get my dad. I was like, Dad, please fucking listen to me on this one. So guess the fuck what?
He did.
He tries it Monday night, and he's really in a good mood Tuesday.
Oh, that's good.
And I'm like, okay, so But here was the next hurdle was, so that blowout Saturday went into Sunday, and my brother wants to get a new phone. Him and his wife want to get a new phone, but they're on the same family plan as us with T-Mobile. We were kind of grandfathered into this old plan, the whole thing, but him and Michaela want to not be on it. They wanted to get new phones, so they go in Friday or Saturday, I don't fucking remember, to look up new phones. And the first T-Mobile store they go, and the guy won't even fucking talk to them about financing a phone because the bill is late, which I thought was paid, by the way, at this point. And which was part of that argument. So he goes to a different T-Mobile store, and the girl's super nice, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll help you out. Like, I can't do anything about your you putting you in a new payment thing for financing a new phone until the bill's paid, but I can help you look at phones." And she was super nice about it, but she, there's limitations. And so Sunday, I'm heading out back to work, and I go into my parents' bedroom, to which they are discussing this bill. My dad has this crinkly look on his face, and my mom has my brother on the phone. And my brother says, if I send $100, which I would normally send on the 10th for the bill, if I send it now, would the bill be able to get paid today? In my mind, I go, we have $250 in the bank because I just sent that Saturday night. If he sends $100, we can pay the bill because it's $277. I say this, and I go, here's the thing, Dad. If Josh sends the money and we pay the bill right now, then Monday and Tuesday, I can make enough to pay the car insurance, which is like $220 or something like that. I don't even get that out before he just, we had to pay the car insurance. And I was like, that fucking attitude, I'm not dealing with. So I just walked out of the house. I come home later that night, and he starts trying to talk to me. And that's when we hashed out how the bills were going to work. And I'm like, you need to meditate and yada, yada, yada. Because I was like, if you're going to just shut me out when I'm trying to come up with a fucking solution, like, this isn't going to work. So Monday, Josh sends the money. We pay the phone bill. But one of the conversations that my brother and I had on the phone Monday morning was him and Michaela are going to want to go under their own plan entirely. And I think this is a good call. As of right now, the only tie that, like, with any kind of money that we have with any member of our family outside of this house is the phone bill. And I would much, much, much prefer not to have any more moving cogs.
Yeah, definitely would make it a lot simpler, less stressful, and on one front there.
Yeah. One of the things that's really interesting about T-Mobile, by the way, they do a financing plan where, like, you get the phone and then you have to sign a contract to pay the phone off over a certain period of time. It's usually about 2 years. And if you do 2 years...
that's standard for every cell phone company.
Is it? Okay, I wasn't 100%
Yeah, AT&T, Verizon, all the main companies around here, you sign up a 2-year plan, they give you the phone free, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though, that cost is factored into your cell phone bill over the period of 2 years. And then they allow you to upgrade your phone.
Yeah, okay. That, all right. Because I didn't know that other companies did that, because, like, that's a thing we have with T-Mobile. Like, the phone I have right now, this one, I'm paying $25 a month on top of the phone bill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good plan. But, I was sitting there thinking, like, okay, if Josh and Michaela do this and they do like a 2-year plan, they'll probably be paying $200 to $225 a month, right? He says that the girl told him $800 a month. And I'm like, how the fuck is it that expensive? How are you both paying $300 a month for your phones? Doesn't make any fucking sense. And he's like, well, they're $1,000 phones. And I'm like, that still doesn't add up. Like, are you paying the phone off in 3 months? What the fuck is happening here? and it turned out that he exaggerated the actual amount.
Oh,
And but the plan was for 6 months, so it has still been expensive.
okay.
Like, but in that regard, I'm like, why would you only sign a 6-month contract? Like, you're paying so much for 6 months.
Stretch it out. Pay a smaller amount for 2 years.
That's my
like
thought.
most people.
But his life, not mine.
But I mean, if you can afford to pay it off that quicker, you know, I'm sure the finance charges are a lot less, and you pay less in interest in that amount of time.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. So yeah, yesterday was much nicer after the fucking. It was like Friday to Monday. I was just stressed. I was like, I'm fucking. I can't think or do anything without like an argument. I'm like, hey, when's Boba Fett? Like, honestly.
Speaking of.
Yeah. So to get out of our like point is that I'm in a better spot than I was earlier this week. So it's just been a stressful week, but we made it out of the fucking woods. Ish. So done talking about that. We're gonna be talking about what we said last week, the finale of Book of Boba Fett, and episode 4, 5, and 6 of Vox Machina. The Legend of Vox Machina, to be very, very specific. So I think we'll start with Vox Machina, just to kind of get that out of the way, and then we'll go into the finale of Book of Boba Fett. Sound like a plan?
Okay.
So if you remember last week, I was talking about The Legend of Vox Machina. Critical Role had funded 12 episodes of an animated series via their Kickstarter, to which Amazon Prime came in and said, hey, we'll fund a season 2. And so there's going to be 24 total episodes. We'll see how much, like, we'll see if they get a season 3 or whatever, but the show seems to be popular enough. Before we get into 4, 5, and 6, I do want to point something out. I kind of got really, really interested in Critical Role. And so I started listening while I was door dashing their third campaign. And I couldn't be more balls deep into their shit right now. Like,
You're so balls deep you got a case of the wet sack, huh?
Oh yeah, like it's bad. I've been kind of doing a deep dive on like their other 2 campaigns, the Vox Machina campaign and the Mighty 9, which is their second one. And their second one not as much because I don't have any kind of context to it. But that being said, I've been watching. I think I said this the first week we talked about it too, or so last week. I wanted to see people take scenes from the campaign, the actual D&D campaign, and tie it to the episodes, the animated stuff. And people have been doing that quite a bit. So if you remember from the first 3 episodes, I don't remember which episode it was, but Scanlan, Vexalia, and Percy are trying to open a fucking wooden door, and they just keep failing at it with the lockpick and all kinds of shit.
That was in episode 4, wasn't it? This week's episode.
Was it in this week's?
I think so. When they were doing the prison break?
No. Maybe?
It wasn't episode 4, but I think it was the prison break episode. Because Vox is like, oh, this isn't a door, it's a thing of evil.
Yeah. That's the scene I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
All right. We'll talk about it this week. Jesus. The point I was getting at was like, I watched that scene in the actual campaign. And what was funny about it was every time they went to do something to open the door, they would have low rolls. And they just couldn't get through the fucking door. Hilarious, right? They have a problem with doors. Every fucking campaign, multiple times. This is the first instance of us getting to see them struggle with a fucking door. Don't know why it happens. Don't understand the like universe just giving them low rolls for fucking opening a door, but it's hilarious. Like in the third campaign, there's a moment where they have to get through a fucking wooden door, and all fucking 8 of them are trying to roll to open this fucking door. and they keep fucking up the rules. It's so goddamn funny. So the fact that was in animation was super fun. But do want to point out, how long would you say that scene was? Less than a minute?
Yeah, but in game time, that's playing out in about an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the thing about D&D. You can sit down and play a session, and play, say, 4 hours, and you think you got a lot done, and you get very little done.
Yeah, like in the third campaign so far, I'm close to the end of episode 6. Here's what they've done. They all start off, because like since there's 8 of them, 3 of them are together, 2 of them together, and another 2 together, and then the 8th guy comes in later as a whole thing. And they're in the middle of this town. They all kind of convene on the same spot ish, which I'm sure was talked about before they started, doing the campaign. Like, make your way to this tavern. And they are attacked by furniture, like a dinette set, a table, a fucking rug. They kill it. They kill all the stuff. They meet this guy named Bertram who says, "Hey, I have a friend who can give you guys a job." So they go talk to that friend. The friend says, the friend attacks them to see how good they are, then heals them. They then are told to go find information on this person. So then they have like a small stealth mission. And I don't want to spoil it because it's fun. But the point I'm getting at is that if the first 6 episodes of their third campaign was in animation, it would maybe be a full 22-minute episode. Maybe. No, I take that back. At the end of episode 3 would have been... So 12 hours of a D&D campaign is 22 minutes.
It's condensed down to 1 episode. Yeah.
It's fucking wild. So when you're watching this show, if you decide to watch this show, which I do highly recommend on a personal level, understand that what you're watching is a lot fucking different. But it's so cool too. It's so fucking rad to see that.
Yeah. And time moves differently in an actual campaign, like battles. And that's, a lot of people, that's the meat and bones of playing D&D is, the battles. A battle, each round of combat from start to finish in real time, like if you were in the universe and having a battle, each round to last 6 seconds. Most battles are over in 30 seconds to a minute. But to actually play that out, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes even more. I mean, I've played in campaigns before where it's just been a battle, and it was one long epic battle that took almost 3 hours.
Yeah. There was they just in episode 5 had a massive fucking battle, and to the point that like 3 of them got knocked down. Something I didn't know, we didn't do it when we were doing our campaign. If someone gets knocked out or gets knocked down or whatever, they like another player can give them a potion to revive them. Didn't know that.
Yeah, we did that.
Did we?
Yes. It was just people would be so scattered and engaged in other enemies, and some people wouldn't risk moving from their positions to help others.
Yeah, I should have done that more often. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could.
That's how, like, our artificer had the familiar and was able to use the ranged touch spell attack through the familiar, and because it had the form of an owl, I deemed that it shit the potion out overhead and landed in Greg's mouth.
That's right. I was down when that happened, huh?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, that's right.
Which sounds exactly like something that would happen in a Critical Role campaign.
Yeah, more or less. One of my favorite moments in this recent fight was Fern, because that's another thing, by the way. They know D&D so fucking well that they're doing some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a fucking automaton character that exists in D&D and it's totally legit. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that was a thing. But
It's probably a Warforged.
I think that's what they're driving towards. But one of the other characters, played by Ashley Johnson, if you don't know who Ashley Johnson is, shame on you. She's playing a fey creature. Like she has like a hoofed bottom, like from the waist down.
Yeah,
it's like a deer,
like a satyr or something.
Yeah, kind of like that. And I don't remember her class. Druid, I think it's Druid. But she's very soft spoken like this, but she fucking is a kleptomaniac, which is hilarious. Like every once in a while, she'll just chime in and go, "I want to steal something." Like, I want to see if I can pickpocket him. And everyone's just like, "The fuck are you doing?" It's so funny. But she got knocked down in that fight, and Fresh Cut Grass is the automaton, which that joke was absolutely hilarious. I think I sent you the clip.
Yeah, I did watch that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, because Sam Riegel does that all the fucking time. Like his entire all his characters like that.
He's the one that voices Scanlan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he did a very typical bard for the first campaign. In their second campaign, he played a goblin.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was really funny. I've watched a few clips of that. Like one of my favorite moments is him and I don't remember the woman's name. She voices Voxalia, the female twin. Laura Bailey, that's who it is. Oh.
Okay.
She plays a tiefling in the second campaign. And they're trying to figure out how they can kill everyone above them while they're in the basement or something like that. And so there's this really funny moment where Sam and Laura look at each other and then they smile and look back at everybody. And Travis, who's playing he's playing a half orc, but I don't remember the character's name. They look at him and they go, "We have an idea." And Laura goes, "It's a very good one." And he goes, "What's your idea?" And so Sam pulls out something looked like a gun, and she does this like that, and they're like, "What is it?" And they look at each other and look back, and go, and in unison, "Fluffernutter." And they're like, "Okay, what is Fluffernutter? What are you holding?" And she goes, "This big barrel of black powder."
Oh.
And Sam just cocks a gun or something like that. And they're like, "So your goal is to blow up where we're currently in."
Funny. Well, see, that kind of harkens back to something that they do in the prison scene. Grog, he is upset because he's not had any ale in days.
That's right, yes.
And he finds some, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got booze." And they're in a pickle, and she's like, "Hey, throw it." He's like, "But I just got it." She's like, "Throw it." And then they shoot it, and it catches flame and douses everybody in fire, which is cool. And that's awesome to see those things that you think of in a campaign translate to the screen.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that's something for me that I was trying to convince a friend to watch it, and I'm like, when you're watching it, think of it that it was a D&D campaign. So when they do something bad or do something right, you can think of it in terms of how they rolled.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, these 3 episodes, they get put on house arrest, because of Percy going nuts and shooting the coach driver, for the what's their last name?
Briarwoods.
The Briarwoods, yes. I knew it began with a B, and I was like the Brimstones or something like that, but the town's name's Whitestone.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, full like balls deep into this shit. So like for some reason I can remember way too much, but
that's a refreshing change.
Right?
But yeah, this episode arc basically it sees them their place on house arrest, because of that incident until they can await not so much trial, but await judgment due to their actions based on evidence that they are trying to gather and present.
Yeah.
During this, some type of phantasms decide to fucking appear because they were summoned by Lady Briarwood to get her book back that they had obtained. So that was a really cool thing to see. All of them getting like possessed briefly.
Yeah. Like that also, like I thought of that fight in terms of a D&D battle too, where they were rolling low trying to attack these things, and no matter like, and even if they did roll high to do some damage, Matt's sitting there going like, it just kind of goes through them. You can't actually attack them. And that's when, who was playing Keyleth goes, all right, I want to use my, like, this ability to have, like, the light of a sun, which is what causes them to be attacked. So, like, yeah, that shit, it's just like, when you think of it from that perspective, it's so fucking cool. At least to me, because like, it gets me all the way into it.
Well, I love to see that passion reignited in you, though. That's great.
It's honestly like because of this show, because of Critical Role, I'm like, I want to play again, which is I didn't think I was going to want to, but here we are.
Well, there was an experience. It was a souring experience. It made me not want to play anymore.
I've had a lot of souring experiences. That's the problem. Like, I think I've talked about it a little bit, but the first time I ever played a tabletop game, the guy with the DM was a complete dickbag. Granted, it was Vampire the Masquerade and not D&D, but whatever. It's tabletop RPG.
Yeah. Same basic principles apply. You're role playing, and there's a combat system.
Exactly.
And there's dice involved, and
character sheets and stats and all that jazz. Yeah, so that was souring, and then like the 2 times that I played with a couple friends, like none of us knew exactly what we were doing, and we were just like ham-fisting it the entire time, and it fucking sucked. Like none of those scenarios were necessarily fun. Sure, we had a couple moments, but it wasn't fun. And then this last experience was so fucking bad because of her. Not saying names, but
oh, I knew who you meant.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Aside from that, it was going great.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll say this much: having watched, or listened to Critical Role's 3rd campaign now for 6 times 4, I can't think of that 24. Off the top of my head. Yeah, for a total of 24 hours now, I have a much stronger grasp on what needs to be done in a campaign. Something that we didn't really do when we were playing, and that Matt does a lot, is if one of us asks a question, there's a dice roll that can come from that, and based on that dice roll, the answer will be given. They do a lot of insight checks, a lot, to see if a character's lying or not.
Yeah.
Which we should do, like players should do way the fuck more often. At least we should have. So I think now...
Well, that comes with, too, players not knowing what their characters can do. Players not knowing that they should do these things. I was only able to gently offer things so much without just straight up giving stuff away, and I did my best in order to, like,
My personal biggest issue when it comes to board games in general is I have to play it to really know how to play it. You know what I mean?
exactly. And really, that's the best way to learn. I mean, yeah, you need to have a copy of the rules handy, but you don't have to know them front to back. You just got to
No.
get the basic tenets down, and then you learn from that and expand upon that. And but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So but anyway, um,
it's funny how this has turned into talking about D&D instead of
well, because
reviewing the actual episodes. But here's the thing: I don't want to really spoil the episodes so much because
exactly.
I want people to watch the episodes. And if
Yeah,
you're a fan of
exactly.
playing D&D, I don't see why you wouldn't like these episodes unless you're somebody who is everything has to be super serious.
Yeah, like that's something about like there's a really, really funny moment in episode 5 or 6, I don't remember, but they're around a campfire and they're just kind of like talking about the biggest villain they ever fought. Or not villain, but biggest monster or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty lighthearted moment for the most part. Like everyone's kind of sharing these moments and you're like, oh damn, or like it's funny. And Scanlan's is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like legit fucking laughed out loud by myself watching it. And then it gets like stupid fucking dark at the end of episode 6. You're like, oh my god. And here's the crazy part. So I sent you a clip of them doing that in the campaign, that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch it. It is unreal.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to because I didn't watch the episodes until about 8:30 last night, so I was done with them about 10. And then I had forgotten to go back and watch that clip.
It's all right. I mean, it is what it is. Well, let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and review on the episodes that we did talk about a ton. Just know that, like, when you're watching them, think of it from D&D perspective. Like, they were 100% reenacting, essentially, in animation, what they did. And not everything. Obviously, not everything. There's a little bit more that goes into it sometimes, but that's what it is. But yeah, I'm just gonna say right now, fucking A+. Of what I like, it's rare that I go out of my way to watch something twice. Super fucking rare, and this is one of those instances. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I fucking love it. The animation's great. The fucking voice acting's top notch.
Yeah, the animation and voice acting both are fucking top notch.
Yeah. I genuinely hope that this is so popular that they greenlight either the rest of Vox Machina. Like if 24 episodes isn't enough to do their entire campaign, that they get a season 3 or 4. But even after that, I really hope that the Mighty Nine, their second campaign, gets an animation. Like, I think it'd be fucking rad, but
yeah,
cross that bridge when we get there, I guess.
It makes me wonder how much work they had to put into doing this because, like, I know they record all their sessions and they're broadcast online. But to condense them down into a tight, concise storyline with your multiple plot threads.
So they, Ashley Birch actually translated it from the D&D thing to script.
Okay.
There's multiple people who worked on the screenplay itself.
Mm-hmm.
Not just her, but she basically condensed it.
Okay.
Which is like, I was like, okay, you're already fucking talented. You didn't have to do that, but here we are. Because it's Ashley goddamn Birch, which we'll be listening to her talk quite frequently here in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah?
She's the voice of Aloy.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah. I fucking love Ashley Birch. Like, she, in my eyes, she can do no wrong. Her and her brother are just unbelievably talented. But anyway, so what grade are you going to give it?
Well, it comes up a little bit from last week. Last week I gave it a B plus for that first episode arc, and this week I was definitely more entertained and more invested, so I got to give it an A. I really enjoy where the story's going. It's fun. It's dark and gritty when it needs to be dark and gritty. It's light-hearted and fucking hilarious when it needs to be. Because it can't be all dark and brooding all the time. Um, and if it is, and then it's your thing, cool. You probably won't like this, but yeah, give this a shot if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun. Uh,
Yeah.
Cool battles, hilarious instances, like when they're trying to fucking open that fucking door.
Yeah.
And Scanlan does his Scanlan's boot spell, and it fails to open the door, and they're like, "How are we going to get in?" And then the fucking guard just opens up the door and throws out a bucket of piss, because that's their chamber pot,
Yeah.
their pot to piss in. And they're just soaked with piss. I was like, yeah, that's definitely something that's like, remember when we were in the fortress, and the one character got pulled into the sewage water, the shit water.
Yeah.
I
You know
was
what's
like,
funny about that
yeah,
is we spent like 4 fucking sessions trying to find a way to clean ourselves off. I didn't know I could just prestidigitation of that off.
yeah,
Prestidigitation. Yeah, they do that all the time in
prestidigitation.
I can never fucking pronounce it. Prestidigitation. Jesus. Yeah, you can just use that spell or that cantrip to, like, at any point outside of battle to clean something. Didn't know that.
He all walked around smelling like shit and piss. It was great.
Well, if you remember the scene where one of us gets fucking eaten by a frog, and then I shrink the frog, I could have just prestidigitation the clean. Like, that's so fucking funny. I didn't know that, but I'm glad I do now.
Hearing them complaining about it though was just so amusing.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead
Anyway.
and move on to the finale of the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, it's been it's week 7 of the show. Everything, like I really like how this show had I don't know if to say desire is the right word, but it definitely did a thing where it built with multiple characters to this finale.
Yeah, it did.
And I like it specifically the last 2 episodes, but my God, was there a lot happening here? A lot of fucking moving parts. I don't even know how to give a synopsis for this episode because again, I don't want to spoil it.
Well, we'll spoil some of it. Some of it we'll have to. Basically, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you've not watched the season finale yet of the Book of Boba Fett and you don't want spoilers, stop listening now and come back and listen after you've watched it. It starts out, remember the casino sanctuary that was bombed at the end of episode 6. Boba Fett, Fennec Shan, and the Mandalorian are in there, along with the mods, and they're trying to figure out their next move. And Boba's like, well, let's go back to the palace. And the mods are like, no, you said you were going to protect the people. We're here. This is a defensible position, because one, even though the inside was incinerated, it's still pretty sturdy from the outside, and just random blaster fire, it's very defensible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they start putting all their pieces in place. They're like, all right, we'll stay here. We'll strategize from here. We'll put our pieces in place. We'll put Chrysanthemum in the Trandoshan district, and the mods will be in the Aqualish district, and the Gamorreans will be watching the starport. And if the Pikes show up in their numbers, we'll have the advantage on them, know when to pounce. And they think everything is going well, but it all goes to shit.
Yeah, the Aqualishes were paid off and the Tradoshans were paid off.
Yeah. All the families had double crossed Boba Fett, and you know, their his
Army of sorts.
his ragtag army is being pinned down and overwhelmed by these other families. Uh, Gotchas, I think, is the name that they used. Um, you see then Cad Bane show up to offer negotiations with Boba Fett, and you get a little glimpse of the history between the two, which was
Yeah,
really cool.
because that entire history exists in
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars. Yeah, was it Clone? I thought it also went into Rebels too. I could be wrong.
It did. Clone
Okay,
Wars and Rebels, but
primarily Clone Wars.
yeah, primarily Clone Wars. Uh, you see Boba Fett tell him no deal, and then the attacks really start to unfold. Uh, Shit looks bad, and it's just Boba and Mando because Fennec Shan takes off to go try to help out the mods, and she's also going for the head of the Pike Syndicate in Mos Eisley. This takes place in Mos Espa. She's trying to make it to Mos Eisley in time to shut this attack down. And you see Boba and Mando fucking just gunfighting it out. It's like the OK Corral against just dozens and dozens of Pike Syndicate troopers.
There couldn't
And
have been a stronger, more Robert Rodriguez scene than that.
it was very cool.
I
It was
like
very cool.
Desperado was the first movie that came to mind watching that scene. I was like, this is Star Wars Desperado. This is what the fuck this is. And I was digging the hell out of it.
Oh yeah. One of the things we didn't mention is at the end of episode 6, a certain character was given a choice. And yes, we see how that choice plays out in this episode.
Very happy about that, by the way. Very happy.
I was shocked by it, to be honest. I was surprised that that was the choice.
What's funny is I saw like a lot of people were apparently shocked when they saw him pop out of the cockpit. I guess we're spoiling that, but I immediately knew what was up when I saw R2-D2.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh no.
I'm happy about it for a couple reasons because we kind of know how Luke's Jedi Temple plays out.
Yeah.
And knowing that a small amount of training that Grogu got will be enough, and he'll probably expand upon those as he gets older.
Yeah, and plus too, it's like Luke was saying to Ahsoka in the last episode. It's not that I'm really teaching him anything; it's more that he's remembering everything.
Exactly.
So it's established that he's already got years of training. He was just mentally blocked, and Luke's helped him to unblock that somewhat. But yeah, we see. So yeah, Grogu's back. Grogu made his choice, wearing the chain shirt. We see, and he lands at Peli Mata's starport. But yeah, we see Mando and Boba. They're getting outnumbered, and then the people of Freetown show up in some armored speeders, and they're helping turn the fight. And Mando says to the Weequay, the bartender, played by W. Earl Brown, who played Dan Doherty in Deadwood, along with Timothy Oliphant. He's like, I didn't think he'd come. He's like, we had to. He says, where's the marshal? He said, they gunned him down in cold blood, implying that Cobb Vanth is dead. Then they rally, they turn the tides, and then a couple of Scorpionic droids come up.
No, were these droids in anything other than this? Because I don't fucking remember.
I don't know because I've never watched all of Clone Wars or Rebels, but I know they were called Scorpionic droids.
Scorpion, yeah, because I had the subtitles on Scorpionic droids. Star Wars.
Scorpionic Annihilator droid. Appearances. Let's see. Apparently, they were used by the Trade Federation. They are much larger version of the destroyer droid with massive cannons.
I've genuinely never seen them before, but apparently they're part of the history, especially of Clone Wars.
They appeared in concept art in Attack of the Clones, but they never really appeared on screen.
So okay, that's why it's my first time seeing them.
So that's cool. But yeah, these things are massive and they're just heavy blasters doing some serious damage. And they're pinned down and Boba's like, we need more help. And Mando's like, it looks like you're all out of friends at this point. He's like, help defend them. I'll be back. Boba flies off. You're like, where the fuck's he going? Well, I'm telling you, and I've already thought of an episode title for this week. And you might be cool, but you'll never be as cool as Boba Fett riding a Rancor cool.
For fucking real.
That was awesome.
I thought he was going back to get his ship. I thought he was going back to get the fire spray, but he's like, he fucking rides up on a goddamn, like, I hear the boom, boom, and I went, no way did he grab the Rancor.
Well, you remember when Danny Trejo's character brought him the Rancor, he was like, I would like to ride him.
I kind of forgot about the Rancor because that was the only scene we had with the Rancor. So it was just fucking, that was awesome. God, that was fucking cool. And then watching a Rancor just rip fucking droids in half, I was like, oh my God.
And you see, the Rancor battering these shields, trying to weaken the shields, and you see Din Djarin, Mando, coming from the other side, trying to use the Darksaber to try to get in through the shields. It's a great fucking fight. And then during all this, Peli Mata shows up with Grogu. She's like, Mando, I've been looking for you. He was like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, I wanted to tell you, look. He's like, what? And they have this moment, while they're on this fucking little rickshaw. He's riding on the back of it. And he's like, oh, what are you doing here? He's like, it's great to see you. I'm happy to see you. He's like, oh, you got the shirt. It was just a cool little heartwarming moment.
The fucking jump into Mando's arms, like I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he just flat out jumped to him. And Misty, we were watching it, and she's like, "Yep, that's your daddy."
Well, and that's something that like everyone has thought about watching Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and that Luke says, he's gonna outlive Mando, 100%, and he has to know that, and I think he will eventually, but right now we're enjoying this duo.
Oh yeah, I saw a piece of fan art that showed Grogu all grown up, and he's like an old Jedi master, and he's got a lightsaber in one hand, and he's wearing the Mudhorn pauldron from Mando's armor on his shoulder, and his other pieces of armor on his body, and it was just really cool looking. I can't remember exactly what it said in the context of it. Something about, talking to a Padawan about not fearing death.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool looking.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw one that had it showed Grogu a bit older wearing just full on modified the Mando armor. And I was like, I think that would ever happen, but it is cool looking.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, we see awesome battles spread out over the streets of Mos Espa.
it's by far the most action-packed episode we've had of this show.
Oh, absolutely.
I would argue more action-packed than any episode of Mandalorian.
Possibly so. Possibly so.
I do.
Very good.
Yeah, I was like, I do like. One of the better characters that came around to me, or came around on me, I should say, was the Twi'lek, the one that spoke for the mayor. I don't remember the character's name.
Matt Berry is the one who plays him, right?
No,
Matt Berry voices the droid.
Yeah, 8D8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah. He's fucking hilarious. The scene where he goes out to negotiate to the Pikes, fucking so funny.
Misty's like, what the hell's he doing? He just said he wasn't going to surrender. I was like, honey, this is a classic bait and switch.
It was so fucking cool. That scene, the scene where they fucking fly in and they're just like blah blah blah. I was like, ah.
It was cool. Yeah, we'll not spoil everything, because more shit happens, and I want you to watch it to see how it plays out. But it is action packed. It is fun. It sows the seeds for a second season,
which I was kind of surprised about. And for anybody watching this, do not leave as soon as the credits start.
There is a mid-credit scene.
There's no end credit, but just a mid.
Yeah, there's a. That's what I said, wasn't it? I said end and then said mid.
I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, there's a mid-credit scene that does confirm the fate of a character. We'll not say who.
Yeah, leave it there. Yeah,
you do get a showdown between two badasses, which is awesome. And
yeah, it ended way differently than I thought it was going to. Straight up.
I don't think that character's done.
Oh, no. Well, that's the thing about Star Wars. Like, hey, is Star Wars and Marvel are the same fucking thing. Just because you think a character might be dead doesn't fucking mean they're dead. And Star Wars has proven that over the past 10 years, hardcore.
Oh yeah.
There's if the actor's done, I think that the character died. But other than that,
yeah.
Like Han Solo. Or Princess Leia. But even then, there was still Rogue One. She was there, so it's whatever. But yeah, don't count anybody out, straight up. But yeah, this episode had so much going for it, and I fucking loved every second of it. I'm gonna go ahead and just give my final thoughts and a grade so we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was really fun about it. I'm not going to say that the CG or the visual effects were always dead on, but I do appreciate there was a ton more fucking practical effects than in the past. But that scene, the hilarious scene where the fucking rickshaw droid breaks and they fucking fly out of the rickshaw.
She comes up spitting her tooth out.
So funny. I will say this: the visual on that slow-mo was bad. It was not very good. But the scene itself is funny and fun. So it's kind of are you really going to get that nitpicky on that shit? It's just enjoy it for what it is. You can notice that kind of stuff and be like, oh, that was still really fun and funny. Because we all fucking love Amy Sedaris' character. Everybody who watches the show loves that character.
Not really. I know a couple of people that absolutely hate it, but still
weird.
It is odd.
But yeah, I fucking thoroughly enjoyed everything this episode had to offer. I don't think there was a part of it that I was like, meh, because it was just fun. It was just Star Wars fucking fun. And the other thing I want to point out about this show that I really enjoy, and I'm happy that the show's doing it, is light on the Force.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, I love my space wizards, but for fuck's sake, Star Wars isn't just space wizards. Star Wars is so much more. And The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett are definitely exemplifying that. I think for the most part, Rebels did a good job of that. But two of the main characters were fucking Force users, so there's that. And again, don't get me wrong, I fucking love force wielders, but Jesus Christ, not every story has to evolve around them. So, fucking stoked that this show exists. Like, and I'm excited that we're gonna there's a very good chance we're getting a season 2. I don't know.
I mean, it's not confirmed, but there is a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where the story could go because of the mid-credit scene. But the fact that, you know, Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett are tied together so strongly is exciting for the future. And I have to imagine that the Ahsoka show will also tie in somehow.
Oh yeah.
Since we have to be picking up that show at roughly the same time. So, but yeah, Star Wars is back, baby.
Yeah, I'll give this episode an A+. The series as a whole, I'll give it.
Did I say?
Give it a grade. You didn't say. You didn't say, but it was implied.
Yeah, A+.
Series as a whole, I'll give it a solid A. There were a couple of lull moments here and there, but overall, it was really strong. It built to this crescendo that delivered on all counts.
Yeah. Totally agree.
You know, but yeah, check it out. Watch it if you haven't already. It really, really made me enjoy the character of Boba Fett, other than, you know, I mean, I always thought he looked cool as fuck, but I really enjoy what they done with him. They made him grow. They gave him personality. They gave him dimension.
Yeah. Well, and that was something I said to my dad after we finished watching it, because he was like, "Is blah 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 dead?" And I went, "Don't count them out," because the thing about Star Wars is we just had a whole 7-episode show about a character we thought was fucking dead.
Yeah.
So, and that should speak volumes on Star Wars. Like, it's, and I'll argue this until I'm blue in the face. Marvel and Star Wars are for everybody. And because they're for everybody, kids can enjoy it too.
Mm-hmm.
So before you get on your high horse saying, like, it should be this and it should be that, no, the fuck it shouldn't. It should be enjoyable for every age. Period.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If a character doesn't stay dead and comes back, so the fuck be it. Just enjoy what we got. I mean, you can critique it. You can say, I didn't like this or I didn't like that. That's fine. But, like, don't make it into, like, it shouldn't be for kids or start gatekeeping, because I swear to God, I'll come for you. I swear to whatever God you believe in, I will Jay and Silent Bob the situation.
How many people want to kick some ass? End of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Next week, we're going to review episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Legend of Vox Machina. We don't have anything lined up to watch this week. If we do, follow us on all the socials, which will be listed down below. I'm going to be a little bit more on top of it if we do add something. But yeah, that's where you'd find out if we do add something. But as of right now, it's just 7, 8, 9 of Vox Machina, which you can watch on Amazon Prime. Keep that in mind. Also, make sure you check out our Teespring store. This is where you can find some merch. I don't remember exactly what's on there other than t-shirts, so you should go check it out and find out for yourself. See if there's something on there that I haven't listed. But yeah, so there's that. If you want to watch the live version of the podcast, you'll find that on our YouTube channel, which is just titled All Queued Up. But if you listen to this on your favorite podcast, on the streaming platform that you listen to, give the show a grade. Give it a 5-star or something to that effect, so that way other people can find us. Pushes the algorithm out, and if people like review shows based on this kind of stuff, maybe they can find us. So that helps us out. It's free to you. Same with the YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to it. Give it a like. It helps us out. Other than that, Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Maya Dawn Fisher. It's a public profile, so if you want to follow me, you can do so. Hit me up, talk to me about things we discuss on here, what have you. Just don't be a creep. If you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, they're also linked to my Facebook page. Easily done from there. You don't have to worry about trying to remember what username, what screen name was it? How do I find it? It's on the Facebook page. It's linked. It's right there. Just click it. Other shows you can catch me on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel. You can catch me on a show called Figure Banging. New episode this week. Tune in at 9:30 p.m. Eastern to catch it live. And it's on YouTube, so you can always catch the replay after the fact, which by the time this publishes, it'll have already aired. But yeah, you can catch me there. And that's everywhere where I'm at normally. What about you, Greg?
You can find me on all social medias under Chub Rock Geek. I was gonna say that I posted a new TikTok video. It's really fucking stupid. Don't go watch it.
The chicken
but also,
nugget.
It's.
I love the music.
it's good, but yeah, it's on my TikTok. You can also follow me talking to Anthony on occasion about video games and upcoming video games and video game news on Mission Start Tubes or just Mission Start Podcast, which you can find on any streaming platform you listen to podcasts on. But other than that, I think that's it. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, next week, episode 7, 8, and 9 of The Legend of Vox Machina. And we'll let you know if we add anything on the socials. But yeah, like I said, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.